Hey guys, welcome to Yes Users Podcast Season 2. For centuries, we have built tools to reduce manual labor. Now, for the first time in history, we are building tools to reduce mental labor. That shift is redefining how businesses operate. And today's guest has been a leading voice in that. Piyush Rajesh Gupta is the CEO of BrainPoint, a TEDx speaker, and an IIM Lucknow alumni. He has been responsible for growth at HT Media, launched various AI powered systems, and has created a framework like Solver Teams that help product teams ship faster without breaking things. Oh, and he also find a D2C superfood brand called Urban Prakriti because apparently transforming enterprises wasn't enough. Today, we are getting into the real talk. Why chatbots are just the beginning, where AI ends and human value begins, and whether your business actually needs AI or just better processes. Piyush, welcome to the show. So, Piyush, first of all, thanks a lot for joining us on the Yes Users podcast.
The pleasure is all mine, Avinash. Thank you for having me here.
No worries. So, in your TEDx talk, you discussed a fascinating shift. We all, humanity, since the dawn of civilization, has been, working to reduce its manual labor. But with AI, now some of our mental labor is also getting reduced, right? So, for a founder or CEO listening today, what is the single biggest piece of mental work that they are still doing manually that they should have handed over to AI yesterday?
Oh, absolutely, Avinash. That's a fantastic question. And I think there is one mental task leader should have delegated to AI already. It should have been preparation of the decision. Uh, to explain that, CXOs still spend hours gathering context, validating numbers, summarizing updates, aligning inputs from different teams. Well, this is a operational cognitive load, but certainly not leadership. Well, AI can now consolidate all the multi-channel communication, but also summarize it. It can also detect anomalies, generate structured decision briefs, and even propose recommended next steps. So basically, leaders should reclaim their time from information gathering and reallocate it to strategy, culture, execution alignment. And that is where the real productivity unlock lies in for these leaders, according to me.
Well said. And one of the points that I believe everybody feels that, we put a little bit of our ego in our mental work, isn't it? So when we start delegating or reducing our mental work or mental labor, doesn't it reduces human value as someone who builds the system? Where do you draw the line? Which specific human skills do you believe should be delegated to AI and which skills will never be replaced by AI?
I think the skills that should be replaced by AI should be these skills which are more repetitive in nature, structured in nature, doesn't have a lot of deviance. Something like, if I'm working on a creative and I know this is a standard creative and things have to be very articulated in a very rule based manner, that's something which an AI tool can do. Or maybe, let's say, we just want to understand what's happening in a plant and what kind of leakages are there in terms of manpower, in terms of financials, the tools, the raw materials. This is data heavy operations. Earlier we used to do analytics, data analytics, and give a report, and this reports used to be left for interpretation. Through the interventions of AI, these kind of agents, these kind of models have now built up tremendously. And I think these are the areas where we should focus today. So if I go back, right, earlier, the communication used to be completely verbal. Then there was an invention of books. Books were looked upon saying that, hey, that's going to ruin the mental ability of an individual. But now books have started to enlighten us. So similarly, in AI, we can automate a lot of day-to-day things, like I just said. However, we should not focus on things which needs the human intelligence. Whereas, let's say, if I want to ship something from one place to the other place, this is a completely automated thing. What there are rules of understanding what I want to ship, what's the container size, what is the location distance. I don't want to take a decision on that. All the only decision I will be taking is speed and time. If any kind of an AI semi-automated solution can take this decision on its own. So now if you draw a parallel to this, any kind of an industry where pricing decisions have to be taken, we can see behind that this is basically we are talking about rules that has to be implemented, not a decision has to be taken. So we can remove the cognitive load of the individual and say, hey, there is an engine which can take care of most of the things that you need, and you can just focus your energies on better things. So I hope I was able to answer your question there.
Yeah, no. It was a great answer. So you were talking about agents, right? And I noticed that you recently wrote about the difference between chatbots and AI agents. A lot of businesses that I speak to, they think they are AI ready because they have a customer support bot. So can you explain to our audience what is multi-agent orchestration in a practical example, and why do you believe it's a game changer? One more question I'll add on to this. How do these agents talk to each other to solve a problem without human intervention?
Certainly. Certainly. Let's first talk about what is multi-agent iteration, and then probably we come to the samples and examples on that. See, what most companies think that they are AI ready because they have a chatbot, for example. But a chatbot is just a digital receptionist, if I can put it very simplistically. It can greet you, but it cannot run the business, certainly. The real breakthrough is multi-channel orchestration. Here's the idea for that. For 200 years, we automated tasks. For the first time, we can now automate collaboration. The way to think of an AI agent is like a digital employee. And now this digital employee is one who can specialize in reading documents, one who can check policies and talk to the databases, one who can handle emails, approve exceptions. And then there is an orchestrator like a project manager. So what does a project manager do? It's basically assigns work, coordinating steps, making sure the job gets done at the end. The magic isn't that these agents exist. The magic is that they can talk to each other. They pass instructions, share context, memories, triggers, those kind of things. This is exactly like how teams interact with each other. A data analytics team is talking to the marketing team and giving them insights, right? So now my agent can now talk to different agents and understand what's happening, what kind of data we are getting, what kind of reception or a response that we got. So instead of a chatbot answering question, you can now have a swarm of specialists completing a workflow. The way we can see a multi-channel orchestration is an advanced version of multi-agent ecosystem. One of that can be a chatbot. They are now interacting in each other. Whereas a single chatbot probably would have been interacting with a database, the front end, a couple of things here and there. However, it was not data enriched to make informed decisions. All it can do is have a communication and pass it on to somebody else, but it cannot make an informed decision. So now with this chatbot, which can now answer this question because there is some corrections between different layers, a data layer, and so on and so forth. Rather than just answering a question, now we can do things like verifying. Let's say there's a claim. We can also generate contracts because now I understand what kind of things go into a contract. We can do a lot of CRM activities and post CRM activities also, which can include WhatsApps and emails, logging the audit trail so that whatever is been done, we can have an audit also of that. So this is the shift. Chatbots respond, agents collaborate, and multi-agent system operate. And that's what a business also need, that there should be an operational gain, just not a response, just not a collaboration. When these businesses understand that, they stop seeing AI as a tool, and then they'll start seeing as a workforce. So for me, if I have multi-channel marketing layer, right, I would rather see it as an employee where I have to put an investment, procure these tools or build these tools, rather than just seeing this as a license that I have to procure. That is where I would say that, hey, I now have control on the output. given whatever the inputs, this is what my outputs are going to look like. And then I can say, hey, my marketing automation is now completely taken care by a layer which has WhatsApp, which has email, SMSs, rich text messages, maybe a chatbot also onto a website and a mobile app on top of that. And then this whole marketing thing can be taken care by this layer. And tomorrow, depending upon how the business needs increases, we can add elements into it. Today, we might start with a heavy investment. Maybe that investment might go to a budget of a few employees. But over a period of time, I don't have to increase the team size. It's more like that's a controlled expense. And I just have to add maybe few percent here and there, year on year, to make it better and better and better. And this is, I think, how a multi-channel orchestration can be useful once we start seeing it as a resource rather than just as a licensing cost.
Wow, great explanation. So, when it comes to AI and being future ready, at Brainpoint, you help companies do that. So, when a client comes to you asking for, Gen AI because everybody else is doing it, how do you assess that if they actually need Gen AI or they just need basic automation?
Sure. So initial assessment is understanding, first of all, what all activities they want to automate. We do go couple of steps behind to understand the complete workflow of the process they are looking to automate. That gives us the inputs, that gives us wherever the bottlenecks might be, wherever the leakages can be. So it gives us the complete impression of the business process. This is where the present situation is. Then we pick certain areas which we feel are repetitive in nature, or there is data, there is synergy around that. Certain areas where we see there is a manual intervention, but this manual intervention is not intelligence. It's more like they have to interject to maybe approve things, maybe reject things, or maybe understand whatever the summary, the data has been inputted before the process. These are the elements, or these are the parts in this particular process where interjections by humans are not that valued or not that appreciated, because now over a period of time they have become redundant, and this kind of interjections are not getting us any business value. We start with those areas. We start slowly automating few pieces within the whole workflow one by one. The reason why we don't automate the complete flow of the process at a go is because whenever there is a AI intervention or any intervention in an organization, there is a resistance to it also. And the bigger the organization, the bigger the resistance. And we have to ensure not just to provide a solution, but adoption as well. So change management becomes a bigger aspect. This is a different topic to discuss, not for today, because change management itself is quite elaborate. But since we are an IT company, we cannot take care of change management, or we cannot give a lot of things into that. Hence, we say that, hey, we will do certain things which are going to give you benefit right away. These are small things. Once your team starts appreciating these, then we will start completing or filling the blanks or connecting these agents that we have built, or the builders, or the solutions that we have created. We'll start connecting them maybe in a quarter or two, depending upon the process. Then the whole workflow will be completely automated. And this is what we have seen throughout our journey in the last decade or so. Whenever we go and talk to the lower management, the middle management, we always have seen happy faces when we give them an AI solution. But behind, they are kind of scared of these AI. That's exactly the reason why we have picked up this approach of slowly interjecting into their territory rather than going in full-flown. That solves two things. One, the adoption definitely is far better. But more than that, for a business, whatever they have proposed as a solution, by doing smaller pieces at once, they can see whether what they have thought actually worked or not before they invest heavily into it. So if there is any gap, they can rectify it at a cheaper cost. And then when they feel more confident, they can invest at a go and complete this whole process, or rather make this whole process as an AI automated process.
Well said. So let's now jump from one buzzword AI to the another buzzword superfoods. So a lot of our listeners might not know that you run a side hustle called Urban Prakriti, right? Which is a D2C superfood brands. So tell us about Urban Prakriti.
So urban prakriti basically it's a need that some of us had when we thought of creating this particular brand. The need was very simple. Three of us, we were heavily into maintaining our body. You can call it muscle training, you can call it fitness, and whatever it might be. Since we have a sedentary lifestyle due to the nature of work, we were very heavily invested into it. And the kind of options that we had as part of supplements outside in the market were more like which had some kind of chemicals. Even if they were natural, they were not to the mark. We thought like let's not stop at organic. Let's create something which has value, which can give credibility, and also solve these kind of needs for the users. So it came out as a personal thing, and we converted that into a company over a period of time. But what we have seen is, between Urban Prakriti and Brainpoint, there's a lot of synergy, but there is a lot of deviance also. Urban Prakriti for us is like a superfood brand which we are now trying to get into a nutraceutical territory, and gradually we are exposing our products into the market which are new. These are not the regular ashwagandhas. These are not the regular tribulus or gokru. The products are more which are brought from different countries. So let's say in India we have haldi, but what about Africa? What is the beauty of Africa? So we were able to find a good product from there, which was black maca. And now what we realize after personal consumption also is that black maca is far more better than the Indian ashwagandha that we are getting, because the species of ashwagandha that we use is inferior. Had we had the better version, the quality would have been better. But all that ashwagandha gets exported because at that price point, there are less buyers in India. Our black maca becomes that substitute. Similarly, we used to consume energy drinks and maybe sugary drinks, drinks which were heavy in caffeine. Though we want to gain out of consumption, but we were also sacrificing certain elements by consuming these sugary or caffeine rich energy drinks. That is where we were able to find African baobab, because African baobab not only is rich in fiber, but also has natural sugars, which gives that energy as a pre or a post workout. That is how our thoughts has been that let's find alternates for problems which are natural, but we'll not limit ourselves to within India. We'll see things outside India also, and we'll find those solutions and we'll bring to the Indian. And that is how Arun Prakriti was born, is going through their infant stages as of now. And that's how we see the future of Arun Prakriti as well.
Well said. And it reminds me of one thing that, when you shift from one, you can definitely cross apply the lessons learned from one, but there is some difference between the two parts as well. So, as we discussed in your intro, right, you had a unique duality in your career. So, initially, you led digital transformation for HT Media, and where were able to scale them to 5x, I believe. And then you shifted to the Brainpoint and Urban Prakriti. So, what was the hardest thing that you learned, and what was the hardest thing that you had to unlearn when you made this transition?
Hmm. That's an interesting question, Avinash. See, running a physical product business fundamentally changed how I look at software. It basically reminded me that real world friction is very different from digital friction. In a software, you can patch, iterate, roll back, and deploy overnight. Whereas in a D2C superfood or a nutraceutical environment, every mistake basically has a cost, be it inventory, be it logistics, compliance, customer trust. But the cross learning has been powerful in both the directions. So, for example, software principles, which I can think of that applies to superfoods, is rapid validation. So, if you see in software, there's a term called MVP, minimal viable product. So, basically, before launching a product, we test messaging, packaging, we see the demand, That is the parallels to an MVP from Superfoods. The feedback loops, the tile feedback, the customer reviews that we get, the repeat order data that we see, the RTO patterns, these function as like a product analytics that we do. Modular thinking. So just like modular architecture, operations are built as reusable blocks, which is procurement, packaging, QA, and dispatch. So with this, I can replace one element and the rest of the workflow can still remain the same. That's modular thinking. Again, the modular architecture has been brought over here. Automation as a profit lever. So anywhere a human is touching a process, we ask, can this be automated? And if the answer lies in yes, margins definitely improve instantly. The superfood lessons which I can now apply back to the software would be customer experience. It's not physical. Basically, it's theoretical. The software teams often obsess over features. Running a D2C brand taught me to obsess over trust and consistency. Then simplicity wins. In physical products, complexity kills margins. It forced me to build simpler, cleaner software roadmaps. Real ops beat PowerPoint strategy execution discipline from D2C. Basically, the inventory, demand planning, fulfillment made my software teams far more operationally grounded. So software taught me to scale fast. D2C taught me to scale responsibly. Together, they created a mindset that prioritizes speed with discipline, experiments with accountability, and growth with real world impact. And I think that what I feel is where the superfoods, the D2C, and the IT, the brain point has cross taught us a lot many things which earlier, because I come from a software industry, I come from a product background, an IT background. And when we were thinking of getting into the territory of non-IT, our thoughts were like, hey, is this going to hamper my growth over a period of time? Because now I'm getting into a different kind of a territory which is not my genre, which is not my expertise. I don't have this experience. But once we started doing this, we started seeing that, hey, there is a lot of things that we can borrow. There's a lot of things that we can adopt and understand. And later on, once we started applying it, we started seeing not only Urban Prakriti, which is a superfood brand, was able to gain out of our or mine experience, but even Brainpoint was able to gain from the past 2 years of experience that we were able to get from a territory, an industry, a business, which we had less knowledge, less experience. We just had faith in it. That is the beauty that I've seen doing these two things together.
Great answer. So, as we are approaching end of the podcast, are you ready for a rapid fire round?
Oh, yeah, why not? Sure.
So there's no rule per se, but you just have to answer the questions very quickly. So the first question is one myth about AI that annoys you the most.
Okay. I think that would be that AI is thinking, it's not. It's just predicting really well.
Right. Great answer. So a book that changed your leadership style.
Oh, there are many books, but I have to answer one. I think that would be by Richard Rummel. It's called Good Strategy, Bad Strategy.
Okay. I haven't read that book. Let me look into it. Okay, next question. Chatbot, dead or alive?
Definitely dead. Chatbots are dead. Agents are the new species.
Okay. Now next question. Your favorite way to decompress? Coding or hitting the gym?
That's a good one. I think I'll say gym because it fixes both the body and the backlog in my mind.
Okay, great answer. One task you wish you could automate in your personal life right now.
Well, I would say my meals and the meal preparation. If I can sort out my macros, it can sort out my life.
Finances, right?
I was saying my meal.
Okay, meal planning. Okay. So if AI automate, yeah.
Yeah, if AI can sort out my macros, it can sort out my life.
Yeah, good answer. So what's your prediction? Will AI agents replace middle management in the next 5 years?
Oh, that's a scary question, and I'm sure people are going to not like my answer, but yes, they are. For the managers who only move information, for them, definitely it is going to be. For the ones who move people, it will not.
Wow, great answer. So with this, the podcast comes to an end. Piyush, thanks a lot for coming on the Yes User podcast and sharing your insights and personal story.
Avinash, I've been hearing very good about you, and I think it's all my pleasure that you had me over here. I only see and I only hope that you grow in your venture, and that's an excellent interjection that you have done. My only pray for you is that you grow 10 and 100 folds over a period of time as soon as possible. And thank you for having me here.
No worries. Thanks a lot for the kind words. What a conversation. From multi-agent orchestration to the philosophy of mental labor to surprising lessons from selling superfoods. Piyush, thanks for being so generous with your time and insights. For everyone listening, links to Brainpoint, Urban Prakriti and Piyush LinkedIn ID are in the show notes. If this episode made you think differently about AI and automation, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now it's the time. I'm Avinash Tripathi. See you in the next one.